In 1988, the light rail opened, running between Tuen and Yunlong, operated by Phase 1 light rail vehicles built by Comeng. In 1991, light rail ordered 30 brand new Phase 2 light rail vehicles which entered service in 1992, the same year the new extension to Shamsheng had opened. In 1993, the brand new extension to Tinshiwai had opened, with 4 brand new stops. In 1995, KCR decided to order 20 brand new Phase 3 light rail vehicles built by Gonian, and entered service in 1997. Also in 1996, the light rail logo was changed to the updated one. Between 2000 and 2003, the Phase 1 light rail vehicles were refurbished into KCR blue and red livery. This change also applied to the Phase 2 light rail vehicles. In 2003, the second extension around Tinshiwai had been complete. Also in the same year, KCR West Rail had opened, offering unparalleled convenience between Tuen, Tinshiwai, and Yunlong. But in 2007, MTR and KCR merged into one operator, which meant that all of the light rail vehicles had their KCR branding changed to the new MTR branding. In 2009, the brand new Phase 4 light rail vehicles made from China entered service on the light rail network. Between 2011 and 2013, the Phase 1 light rail vehicles were refurbished to look exactly like the Phase 4 light rail vehicles, making them indistinguishable between one another, and also extending their service lifespan. In 2015, MTR asked out bidders to refurbish the 30 Phase 2 light rail vehicles. However, MTR soon decided to just replace the Phase 2 light rail vehicles with brand new Phase 5 light rail vehicles instead. In 2020, the Phase 5 light rail vehicles started to enter service, which also started to replace many of the Phase 2 light rail vehicles that were operating on the network. In 2023, the Phase 2 light rail vehicles were finally retired, ending their 31 years of service on the light rail network. A few months later, to celebrate the light rail's 35th anniversary, 2 Phase 1 light rail vehicles were wrapped into retro liveries commemorating the first 35 years of service on the light rail network. This brings us up to today. In 1979, MTR Corporation opened the first line, running between Shekipmei and Kuntong. This was part of the modified initial system. Later, in 1979, the line to Shimshache opened, and later Argyle and Waterloo Station were also added to the line. In 1980, the line to Central was completed and opened for service, marking the completion of the modified initial system. For the entirety of the 1980s and 1990s, the line employed M trains built by Metro Camel and later GEC Alstom. The train's interior looked like this. In 1982, the Shunwan line opened, running between Shunwan and Central in phases. However, because of this, the Kuntong line no longer extends beyond the Yaomate station. In 1985, Phase 1 of the Island Line opened, running between Admiralty and Chaiwan. Then 1 year later, in 1986, Phase 2 of the Island Line finally opened, extending the line to Sheungwan and finishing the Island Line project. In 1989, the Eastern Harbour Crossing opened, extending the Kuntong Line route to Quarry Bay Station. This new extension enabled Kuntong Line trains to also cross the harbour to Quarry Bay Station, giving an alternative option for passengers travelling to Hong Kong Island. However, this new extension caused a lot of congestion at Quarry Bay Station, with passenger numbers exceeding over 45,000 people at the station, 10,000 more than the station's capacity limit. To combat this problem, MTR Corporation started the Quarry Bay Congestion Relief Works program. That is to extend the Kuntong Line to North Point Station. For more information on this topic, HKRDG made an amazing video on this topic, link in the description. Between 1997 and 2001, MTR Corporation decided to refurbish all 93 sets of EMS trains to an updated standard. Both exterior and interior are alike. With 4 long years, the final unrefurbished M train had its final service, marking the end of unrefurbished M train service on the network. Also in the same year, in 2001, the Kuntong line was extended to North Point. In 2002, the Chengquan-O line opened. The line also took over the cross-harbor section of the Kuntong line to North Point. And to accommodate for this new line, MTR Corporation bought 13 brand new K trains from Hyundai Rotem. However, due to maintenance contract issues at Chengquan-O Depot, the K trains could not run on the Chengquan-O line. Thus, the K trains were relegated over to the Kuntong line, while some M trains from the Kuntong line were sent over to the Chengquan-O line. In 2007, MTR and KCR Corporation merged to form MTR Corporation. This didn't really change much to the trains, except the old flashing system maps were updated to have the new KCR lines incorporated into it. In 2010, the maintenance contract at Chengquan-O Depot expired, meaning that the K trains from the Kuntong line could now go over to the Chengquan-O line, while the Chengquan-O line M trains were relegated back to the Kuntong line. In 2011, brand new C trains built by CNR Corporation of China were delivered to the Kuntong line, meaning some of the Kuntong line's M trains could be relegated to the Chunwan line and Island line. Besides only ordering the C trains for the Kuntong line, MTR Corporation also ordered 10 brand new S trains for the upcoming brand new South Island line. In 2014, the first S trains began to get delivered and were delivered to Suhoan Depot, and then they started to do night testing on the Tongchong line. In 2016, the Kuntong line extension opened, extending the Kuntong line to Homantin and Whampoa stations. Later that year, the South Island line would finally open, running between Admiralty and South Horizons. The opening of this line also meant that this line would be added to the urban lines, extending the urban lines network even further. In 2018, the first Urban Lines Vision train, or Q train for short, was delivered to Hong Kong. These trains were built by CRRC, the successor of CNR, the company that built the C trains and S trains. As part of this upgrade for the urban line, the signaling system will be changed from SASEM to the brand new CBTC. This didn't really work out, as in 2019, 2 M trains crashed at Central Station because they were using the new CBTC system. So this meant that the brand new Q trains that were delivered in 2018 would not be entering service anytime soon. However, in late 2022, the Q trains finally entered service on the Kuntong line, marking the beginning of the end for the M trains that served it for over 40 years. This brings us up to date.
Kai-Tak, once Hong Kong's international airport, closed on the 6th July 1998. But what did it close? What does the site look like today? Are there any remains of Kai-Tak Airport once being there? Well, today we are going to talk about it. Kai-Tak Airport's story began with 2 businessmen named Ho Shun Kai and Oh Cheng Mun, who formed the Kai-Tak Investment Company to reclaim land in Kowloon for development. However, Their business plan failed, so the government acquired the land from an airfield on the land. In 1928, a coal-red speedway was built for a seaplane that used the adjoining Kowloon Bay. Then, in 1935, the first control tower and hangar at Kaita were built.
Then, on the 24th of March 1936, the first commercial flight flew into Kai-Tak, operated by Imperial Airways. During World War II, Hong Kong was taken over by Imperial Japan, and many prisoners of war were sent to expand the airport. To get materials to expand Kai-Tak Airport, the walls of Kowloon Walled City were demolished, and the stone was used to expand Kai-Tak's two runways, 1331 and 0725. After the end of World War II, Kai-Tak Airport was returned to regular commercial use. Then in 1946, Cathay Pacific Airways, Hong Kong's first local airline, came into operation with two DC-3 aircraft, both which are still around today.
In 1954, the government approved a master plan for Kai-Tak Airport's development. By 1957, runway 1331 has been extended to 1,664 meters, while runway 725 will remain 1,450 meters long.
Bristol Britannia 102s took over BOAC's London to Tokyo flights in summer 1957, and they were the largest airliners scheduled to the old Kai-Tak Airport. In 1958, the new northwest-southeast 2,550-meter runway extending into Kowloon Bay was completed by land reclamation. The two runways were removed with footprint used by the apron and terminal building.
The new passenger terminal was complete by 1962, and the name Hong Kong International Airport was officially adopted for Kai-Tak Airport.
By that time, propeller aircraft were being replaced by modern jetliners like the Douglas DC-8, Boeing 707, and the de Havilland Comet. The first Boeing 747 flew into Kai-Tak Airport on 11 April 1970.
In 1974, the visual approach was replaced by the Instrument Guardian System (IGS). With the aid of the IGS, the runway could become visual to pilot when they were over the Kowloon Peninsula. Then in 1975, runway 1331 was extended to 3,390 meters, the final length of the runway. This extension work was completed in June 1974, but the full length of the runway was not in use until 31 December 1995. As construction of the new airport too has kept the northwestern end of the runway closed.
However, by the mid-1980s, Kai-Tak Airport was reaching its capacity limit. The growth of Hong Kong put a strain on the airport's capacity. Its usage was close to and for some time exceeded the designed capacity. The airport was designed to handle 24 million passengers per year, but in 1996, Kai-Tak handled 29.5 million passengers, plus 1.56 million tons of freight, making it the third busiest airport in the world in terms of international passenger traffic, and busiest in terms of international cargo throughput. Moreover, clearance requirements for aircraft takeoffs and landings made it necessary to limit the height of buildings that could be built in Kowloon. While Kai-Tak was initially located far away from residential areas, the expansion of both residential areas and the airport resulted in Kai-Tak being close to residential areas. This caused serious noise and engine pollution for nearby residents and put height restrictions, which were removed after Kai-Tak closed. A night curfew from 11:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. in the early morning also hindered operations. As a result, the government decided to find better locations to build a new airport for Hong Kong. This was to remove noise and engine pollution in Kowloon and to replace Kai-Tak Airport fully. After thinking about it, the Hong Kong government chose Chek Lap Kok, an island off the side of Lantau Island. As part of this, the Airport Tour program was launched. This was a massive scheme that built infrastructure to and from the airport, used housing development, and land reclamation. The new airport on Chek Lap Kok officially opened on 6th of July 1998 to replace the functions of Kai Tak Airport. All of the essential airport supplies and vehicles that were left in the old airport for operation were transported to Chek Lap Kok in one early morning with a single massive move, with a police escort. On the 6th of July 1998, at 1:28 a.m., after the final aircraft departed for Chek Lap Kok, Kai Tak was finally retired as an airport. However, problems at the new Chek Lap Kok airport resulted in the government having to temporarily reactivate Kai Tak Airport's cargo terminal for a month with the temporary ICAO code VHHX. After that, Kai Tak was closed fully for good.
But what happened to the airport? What does the site look like today? After the closure of the airport, the terminal building housed government officials, automobile display sheet and showroom, gaming arcades, a mall, a go-kart resources, a bowling alley, a snooker hall, a mini golf range, and other recreation facility. In the mid-2000s, the passenger terminal and the hangar was demolished.
Many aviation enthusiasts were upset at the demise of Kai Tak because of the unique Runway 13 approach, as private aviation was no longer allowed at Chek Lap Kok, having moved to Shek Kong Airfield. Some enthusiasts had lobbied to keep about 1 kilometer of Kai Tak runway for general aviation, but a suggestion was rejected as the government had planned to build a new cruise terminal on the former runway. In 2013, the Kai Tak Cruise Terminal opened, which was built on the former runway. Ever since 2011, housing and residential developments have been built on the former Kai Tak Airport. That includes a children's hospital, a bunch of new housing, and the new MTR station. Kai Tak Airport was effectively a victim of its own success, as it helped Hong Kong grow, but then Hong Kong grew rapidly and Kai Tak couldn't cope as its location didn't allow it to expand. But the Kai Tak Airport will be remembered in the hearts of many aviation enthusiasts and the memories of many people alike. And this memory The Enviro 500 MMC series of bus is one of the most successful buses built of all time, spanning across many generations of bus variants. But how did it come to be? How did it become so successful? Well, in this video, you're going to find out. Our story begins with a different bus, called the Dennis Trident. This bus was revolutionary as it introduced low-floor buses to many places that bought the bus, namely Hong Kong and the UK. This bus was built by the UK bus manufacturer Transbus International, the predecessor to the Alexander Dennis bus manufacturer. These buses were produced between 1995 and 2002, and they were the first double-decker bus to have a low-floor design, which enabled more easy access onto buses for disabled people. This bus saw widespread success across many places like Canada, the US, Singapore, and Hong Kong. The bus was equipped with a Cummins M11-305E, a 305 horsepower engine which complies with Euro 2 standards, or an ISM 330 HP engine for the buses delivered to North America. The M11-305E engine was replaced by the Cummins ISME Euro 3 standard engine in 2001. A 330 horsepower version was used initially, but later models in Hong Kong adopted a 335 horsepower version. The Dennis Trident could be fitted with an Alexander ALX 500 or Duplo-Metsec DM5000 bodywork, and could be chosen to have an open or closed top. The Dennis Trident later evolved to become the Transbus Enviro 500. This bus was introduced in 2002 and was an evolution of the Trident. The Dennis chassis for the Enviro 500 was modified from the Trident. It can be fitted with Cummins ISME 335 Euro 3 engine, or a ISM 330 engine for the buses delivered to North America, and coupled to a Voith DIWA 864.3E 4-speed or ZF 5HP 602 5-speed gearbox. Later Voith DIWA 864.5 4-speed gearbox, ZF 6HP 602 6-speed gearbox, and Allison B500R 6-speed gearbox became available and gradually became the standard configurations. Initially, only the 12-meter-long version of the Enviro 500 was built, but in 2007, Alexander Dennis announced the production of the 12.8-meter-long version, and the 11.3-meter-long variant followed in 2008. Later on, Alexander Dennis introduced a hybrid version of the Enviro 500, known as the Enviro 500H, with Allison's parallel hybrid drive system. This bus was introduced in late 2008. Then, in 2012, the brand new Enviro 500 MMC was introduced, and it superseded the Enviro 500. This bus was equipped with a new chassis and with Euro 6 diesel or diesel-electric engines, and later on, fully electric engines. The chassis had the longitudinally mounted engine and gearbox slightly offset to the left. The Cummins ISOE engine was retained with choices of ZF Ecolife and Voith DIWA gearbox. Like the Enviro 400 with a straight staircase, the shape of the fuel tank was specifically adopted to be mounted under the staircase. All the axles utilized were supplied by ZF instead of Dana. The bodywork was also redesigned, with a more angular front-end design based on the Hong Kong version of the Enviro 400. It has a new design of staircase known by Alexander Dennis as the square case, whose size was similar to that of the spiral staircase but with all steps being rectangular shaped. A hybrid electric version of this bus model with the Cummins ISBE engine and the BAE Systems Hybrid Drive series hybrid system have been built in small numbers. Later in 2014, Alexander Dennis unveiled the second generation Enviro 500 MMC in North America, with a new design of bodywork similar to the Enviro 400 MMC launched earlier that year, featuring rounded top edges and a vertically oriented headlamp cluster. This bodywork design was also adopted by the Enviro 500s built for Hong Kong since 2015. Two versions of the new bodywork Enviro 500 have been developed for the North American market. the standard 4.1 meter height model with a length of 12.9 meters, and the new lower height 3.9 meter super low variant with a longer length of 13.8 meter designed for high capacity interurban transport. Alexander Dennis announced the launch of the Enviro 500 EV battery electric bus in 2021, initially launched for the North American market as the Enviro 500 EV Charge. The Enviro 500 EV, seating 130 passengers and sharing components with the two-axle Enviro 400 FCEV developed for the UK market, is equipped with a 648 kilowatt battery and will feature a refreshed exterior design in line with both the UK market's Enviro 400 EV and Enviro 100 EV buses. The first production Enviro 500 EV was delivered to Kowloon Motor Bus, or KMB for short, of Hong Kong as part of an order for 10 of the type in April 2023. This brings us up to date. The Enviro 500 MMC has been successfully sold in many markets across the globe, with far-flung destinations like Canada, the US, the UK, Germany, Hong Kong, Switzerland, New Zealand, Mexico, Singapore, and Malaysia. As for the future of these incredibly successful buses, it is uncertain. However, with the new generation of Enviro 500 EVs entering service already, it is very likely the Enviro 500 MMC and its future generations of buses will continue to serve many places for many more years to come.